The Cheating Death Podcast is a program which explores content that may not be suitable for all viewers. Listener discretion is strongly advised. On today's episode of the Cheating Death Podcast, we get into some drum tips if you are just starting out and wanting to figure out how to go boom 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 all over the place as you try to trace something you cannot replace. So prepare your face. It is time for us to dive in to the world of drumming and engage in a world that has no longer become happy or positive to the average social media user. So our plan is to provide you with a couple of sources that will be able to educate, inform, and advise you as to how to use your platform to your advantages. There is no one answer to this life we all live. Everyone experiences it differently, but you must remember, the rules of chaos cannot be broken nor formatted. So live life without plan or structure, but always have a little ounce of resilience within your soul. Prepare for today's program, and may chaos break the rules that bind. Welcome. One and all, guten Tag, meine Freunde, or gute Nacht. Whenever you are listening to our fine program, we are grateful for you taking a moment of your time to listen to our lovely discussion today. Episode 5, we're all going to be talking about social media tips, how to keep yourself sane, and we're going to give you a little bit of advice if you're finding yourself struggling when you're learning the drums. By all means, as it pertains to being a musician or an artist of any kind, there are a lot of different paths that you ultimately can choose to go down. And we're going to take a little bit of time today, a few minutes, just to give you some options, some choices, some exploration, just to see exactly what tickles your fancy and what genre will be best for you. That being said, we're going to start off the program today by getting a little bit into social media and identifying some of its evolutionary qualities and some of its more or less goblin-like traits. As we are well aware, some of us in whom have been around on the earth for a cycle or two, We're well aware that social media began in the mid-90s under the AOL dial-up lovely era that was a lot of us, even those of us in our early to mid-30s, and still remember a time we were coming home from school and we were just about ready to watch the late night television program just before Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy at 7 p.m. and 7:30. You would want to hop on that dial up and you'd want to check in on the forums, maybe have a look at yourself and some baseball statistics, or maybe you want to even check on what's going on in the New York Times, because Lord howdy, 1996, 1997, those are some very fun times to be around. Got some Brad Pitt movies coming out. Seven had just came out in that time, one of the best endings to any movie of any era. And here we are at the very beginning, the infant stages of social media. You got your MySpace.coms in 2002, 3, and 4, the earlier stages of the Bolt.coms, the AOL chat rooms, the Yahoo chat rooms, the MSN chat rooms. Anyone who listens to this podcast surely remembers MSN Messenger. And if you don't let us know. Just smile and nod. Trust us, it'll be okay. As time goes on, these forms of social media, they tend to evolve, they tend to grow. And as time proceeds, as people become more busy, and as people have less time to handle things, people have a tendency to read quicker, but not read thoroughly. Content, communications, more often than not get lost. Very, very easy to look at a post or a comment and say to yourself, wow, this person is an absolute mean person. I absolutely have no interest in discussing anything of this nature with this soul at all. Good day to you, sir, madam, or other. No, this is one of those particular types of situations where the advent of social media, every single person with an internet connection having a voice, has created oversaturation. It has created an epidemic where every single person who has a social media account thinks they are the one and only solution to situations and problems that don't exist. Now, that being said, we could go into discussion for hours about how social media is used negatively and about how people use it to engage and incite and rage bait. But instead of doing that, we want to take a couple minutes here just to shout out a couple of people who use social media really well. They understand the beat of it. They know how to utilize it not only for their communication and personal use, but they have also been able to expand and expound their reach and make it more than just about their opinions, make it more than just about their reach. No, they've actually gotten to a point to where they've made it a fully viable business model in some cases. And ultimately, when you look at it from that perspective, you really can't help but grab a pen and a notebook and start writing down some tips. Start writing down, hey, this communication, I definitely wouldn't have handled this way. How is this person handled? Wow, this person's coming right out of the gate. They don't know this guy and they're just immediately jumping on him, and his response is just get that dirt off your shoulder. There are levels to this, and this particular guy, he understands it all. Our first example of this is going to be a gentleman in whom we here at the podcast refer to as the 7-foot legendary Leviathan, the internet sensation who is of a joyous creation. We're talking about the one, the only, the legendary Big Trouble Ben Bishop. Now, you can reach out to him at twitter.com/BigTroubleBB. And one of the reasons we want to talk about him here for a few seconds is because if you're into any sort of entertainment, professional wrestling, sports, anything like that whatsoever, and you just kind of want to laugh at social media, you don't want to take it too seriously, you just want to see something that makes you smile, that makes you go, that guy's got a point. That was a pretty funny joke. All right, you got anything else there funny, man? You got any more advice? You got any clips from me? No. This is an example of how to use a platform exceptionally well. Not only does he post his business, his merch, his travel, his overall career, but he does it in such a way that every single communication feels like it flows off the tongue naturally. There is no divisive content. There are No overtly negative or completely argumentative posts or comments. All just a big, awesome athletic dude working, trying to figure out his way in his career. And in perspective and opinion of this podcast, he's doing an outstanding job. In a few years, we feel that he may be in the same conversations as, the Canes, the Undertakers, the Andrew Everetts, for those who'll get the inside joke, and the Giant Silvas, the Giant Babas, and more. This guy's an absolute legend. You should follow him, and you should definitely heed some of his social media advice. Our second example is going to be a long-time friend of the podcast, long-time friend of the host, is a man known by many names, but you may know him by John Draper, the legend, the absolute limitless soul. John Draper is a man in whom has been active in the New York City hardcore scene for well over 35 years. He's lived in New York City. He now resides in upstate New York. And his band has now decided to restart the fire, if you will. They have decided to put some coals into the fire pit and let's see exactly how much gas we got left in the tank. And in addition to being probably one of the more solid visual performers we have seen from clips of his performances, videos, just explanations and stories from how he has evolved as a person, as a performer, and as a human being, but how he handles social media, how he handles communication, how he handles discourse, how he handles engagement, empathy, everything. You look at John Draper's page, and there is not one post that doesn't at least make you think, doesn't at least make you look at yourself in a mirror and say, opinion may be a little bit different than what we have in our brain, but this guy's got a point. He absolutely has something that we should look into. Wonder why we were thinking that way. Not really sure. And then there's going to be the complete opposite situation where somebody is just being a complete and utter chode bucket, and he will call them out instantly. Rightfully so. This is not a man who steps out of turn. This is not a man who does what he can to purposefully and perpetually place himself on a pedestal above others. This is a humble man who has been through some of the worst things that any soul can go through at any point in their lives. And he still takes time to care for people. He still takes time to help people. He still takes time to listen. And he still takes time to care. So we here at the Cheating Death Podcast strongly suggest that you give John Draper a follow at twitter.com/IamJohnDraper and give his band a follow at Instagram at lament_NYC. Our third example today is going to be longtime friend of the show, very, 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 very outstandingly exquisite communicator, one of the nicest human beings the host has ever met. This is, of course, Cameron Hawkins. Some of you may know him just as Seahawk, one of Twitter's mainstays when it comes to providing education and insight as it pertains to not only sports, professional wrestling, his experiences in education, how life is in Austin, Texas, and more. But he is also a man in whom takes time to ensure that those around him, if they do not understand, if they take time to engage with him and they are respectful enough, he will use his social media to actually take time to help people learn, to help people engage in appropriate discourse, to understand that the individual who may be quote-unquote coming at him may not necessarily be the brightest tool in the drawer, but at the same time, he's firmly aware that there is a lot of dirt on the window, so a lot of sun might not be coming in to allow that drawer to get a lot of brightness. So he's very careful and he's very cautious with how he deals with some people. Naturally, when you have, one of the absolute lovely people that just come at you for no reason, like literally every single person seems to get on social media nowadays, instead of becoming emotional, instead of becoming reactive, he just says, all right, cool, that's your opinion, have a good day. Seems like nothing bothers this man. Nothing gets under his skin. And for anyone who is looking to figure out a way in order to increase your happiness on social media, give Cam a follow. Twitter.com/Ceehawk. CEEHAWK. And our next example, very long time friend of the program and of the host. He hosts the Garden of Thought program, in addition to a litany of other shows with professional wrestlers, laureates, communicators, doctors, and so on. And his name is Jeff Lippman. He can be found at twitter.com/IcarusFell. His social media experience is that of a man who has a very, very good job, an outstanding track record when it comes to caring about people, very unique opinions, and he is not afraid to show who he really is, a genuine, deep, and caring and considerate person. You'll find Jeff engaging in discourse as it pertains mostly to media news, legal matters, some sports matters, and in some cases, some people may just be silly and he may pop by and decide to throw in a nugget of wisdom, and we're all better for it. Given the nature and circumstances of today's overall socioeconomic as well as emotional environment, we strongly recommend that you give Jeff a follow over at twitter.com/IcarusFell if you want some outstanding advice on how to handle the jive soul people within the realm of the social media world, or whether or not you just want to get yourself some solid podcast info, give him a follow there. And of course, when taking into account his podcast information, they can all be found on Spreaker.com, Spotify, and Apple as well at Garden of Thought. As most of you are aware, when it comes to learning a new hobby, skill, or profession, all of us learn differently and might take a little bit of time. So it's imperative that you find the route and the path that works best for you. We could spend hours and hours, dear listeners, advising you how to go about trying to learn drums, trying to learn guitar, trying to learn glockenspiel, trying to learn violin, trying to learn just about anything that you want to learn. But the truth is that when you come to learning something rhythmic like drums, there are a couple of key components that matter. One, you need to ensure that you have rhythm and you can keep a beat. The best way to go about doing that, if you are not wanting to invest in a drum kit, is invest in a drum pad. One little drum pad, and have a metronome app on your phone. If you are able to keep the beat with the metronome app on your phone and you find that you are liking the drum pad and you can switch things up here and there, what we do is suggest that at that point you get yourself a very base level, or what someone categorizes like a junior or a beginner set of drums, like a Mapex set, like a Westbury set, like a Tonginen set. There really are a litany of brands that provide excellent opportunities for beginner and just starting stage drummers to really get their flow and to master their speed. Our first suggestion as it pertains to following instrument lessons of any kind for drums is that you will naturally be able to pick up within a few weeks as to whether or not you're able to keep a beat. If you are able to keep a beat and you wish to evolve your understanding of learning, do not worry, do not do that quickly. With music, with art, it takes ample time, ample hours, in order for you to really, really, really dial in and get to where you feel you are comfortable and good enough at said profession, at said instrument. It's going to take quite a bit of experimentation and practice just to see as to whether or not you will be interested in it. I mean, take into consideration all the instruments and all of the people that you love that play those instruments. Rest assured, those people spent thousands upon thousands of hours trying to get to where they are. No one picks up a guitar and walks on stage and is able to play Stairway to Heaven without any practice whatsoever. No one gets up on stage and is able to play YYZ by Rush on drums without any sort of experience or any sort of practice. Absolutely not. And take it from your lovely, beautiful, benevolent host. We play 14 different instruments, and we use all of those instruments within each of our recordings, and our drives, our archives, our digital formats, all of our backups. we have about 8,000 hours worth of digital samples, clips, pieces, and different bits that we have recorded over the years to ensure that we never go dry, to ensure that we always have backup, and to ensure that if something isn't matching, that we could just pick from our wide library that we have put into over the past 25 years. You're going to find your way. You're ultimately going to find what works best for you. But a very quick rapid fire top 5 best ways to learn drums at your pace is as follows. Number 5, pick up a drum pad at your local music store or thrift store, along with accompanying drumsticks. They don't have to be fancy, they just have to be something to where you're able to keep it beat. Number 4, go onto your phone, whether it be the iOS store or the Android App Store, and download yourself a metronome. This will assist you in being able to identify whether or not you were able to keep time while you are practicing on the drum pad. Number 3, if you feel comfortable with the drum pad and the metronome, download yourself some very basic songs. We're literally talking just standard 4x4 time and execution, bass, snare, bass, snare, bass, snare, that kind of concept. Download a few of those and see if you can practice along with that. Number 2, once you get to a point to where you are confident in knowing that you want to proceed and you do want to learn drums, go and buy yourself a kit at either a pawn shop or at a garage sale. Do not spend any more than $100 to $200 on it. Spend more money when you get better and when you want to go on stage. And number 1, no matter how difficult, no matter how arduous it becomes, understand that drumming, specifically jazz drumming and thrash metal drumming, is an absolute monster. You will not be able to overcome it within the course of a day or even a week or a month. Patience is your friend. And if you really care about what you do and you absolutely want to make this your life, take your time. Don't live too fast. Learn from your mistakes. And if you want to reach out to others, take their criticism and feedback and apply it to your situation. There will be a lot of situations and times to where you may feel that your piece is perfect, but reaching out to others and identifying exactly what else may be needed may take it from being to In conclusion, it doesn't really matter whether or not you use social media to engage in matters for yourself, your business, your family, your personal preferences, communication choices, sports teams, entertainment, geopolitical affairs, or many more. It has become an absolute beast for many of those upon this plane. It has become something that people cannot live without anymore. You would be hard-pressed to see a soul walking down the line without their cell phone in their pocket or attached to their hip, and that is ultimately one of the reasons why it is imperative that if you're finding yourself struggling with social media and how to function through it, take some time, do what you need to do, learn, and love. Because without these particular types of opportunities to be able to grow, we are only going to give ourselves nothing but an echo chamber. And when we dwell within the confines of an echo chamber, the drum rhythm may sound nice if we're able to make it look and feel good, but it is inevitably going to become repetitive. And much like life, when you are learning lessons, whether they be of a musical variety or whether they be of a social variety, life is not fun unless it incorporates challenges, progression, stages, and changes. So whatever you do, focus, find yourself, fight, and do whatever you can to stay positive, stay sane, and live your best life and pursue your passions. At some point in our lives, we're all going to make mistakes, but it is important that as we make those mistakes, that we still choose to grow and we still choose to fight. Over the course of the years, we've all looked at ourselves and said, oh goodness gracious, why did we do that? Well, one of the reasons we're providing you with some social media tips and how to stay sane on social media in a world that is slowly falling into decay is predominantly because the Cleric of Chaos has made many mistakes as it pertains to social media over the years. He's gotten into his feels a little bit when he hasn't exactly been feeling his best and there hasn't been a chalky milk nearby. So with our experiences and with some of the experiences of our friends, family, and outstanding social media superstars, this program is designed to help you figure out what the best route is for you. A couple of the inspirations for this program today as it pertains to how to use social media constructively and positively. First and foremost, independent wrestling sensation and leading Leviathan Big Trouble Ben Bishop. He can be reached at twitter.com/BigTroubleBB. You can also reach Cameron Hawkins, who is an outstanding inspiration, both when it comes to education, empathy, communication, and de-escalation. He can be reached at twitter.com/Seahawk. That's twitter.com/capital C as in Charlie, E as in Echo, E as in Echo, H as in Hotel, A as in Alpha, W as in Winter, K as in Kilo. You can also check out John Draper, the one, the only, the legend, the man. He can be reached at twitter.com/IamJohnDraper if you want to give him a follow. And his band Lament is also back on Instagram with some new shows coming up soon. Give them a follow at Instagram at lament_NYC. And of course, what copy of discussion, what charter of communication of all of these copies of individuals of carbon-based life forms would be complete without the one, the only, the man, the myth, the monolithic master, the Jeff Lippman. You can give him a follow at twitter.com/IcarusFell. That's twitter.com/ICARUSFELL. Please give all these people a listen. Follow their programs and podcasts. Engage with them. Ask them for some advice if you need it. And by all means, if you have any questions or concerns as it pertains to anything involving us here at the Cheating Death Podcast, we can be reached out to at Gmail, thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com, twitter.com/weallcheatdeath, youtube.com/weallcheatdeath, twitter.com/Cleric of Chaos, and we can also be reached at linktr.ee/Cleric of Chaos, where you can buy cameos, merch, buy me a coffee, and more. Remember, as time goes on, life only gets a little bit more complexing as days go by, and we're pulling for you. We're all in this together. If you or anyone you know are dealing with domestic abuse, please call the Domestic Abuse Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. That's 1-800-799-7233. Alternatively, if you are experiencing a mental health crisis, please text 988 if you are in the United States or if you are in Canada. If you are in Europe, please look on Google for most 112 or 999 or 988 related services. If you are experiencing duress and you are in a physiological situation to where you may not be able to escape, please call 911 or your local mental health facility. Please contact your doctor at your earliest convenience, and remember, you are loved, you are cherished, you are important, and you are valued. This world would not be the same without people like you within its confines. People love you. People need you. Do what you can to stay alive, and we'll do what we can to help you survive.